Welcome back. You're listening to Buddy's Financial Fitness Hour on Real Talk San Diego, ESPN AM 1700. I'm sitting here with Shirlene Reeves and Deborah Dupree. Hi, Shirlene. Got you in the hot seat right now.
I know. I can hardly wait to get going.
Good. Well, let's get started then. So before we get into maximize your wealth, can you tell me what you were doing before this and how you even got involved with this whole project?
Oh, I can. Yes, absolutely. I bootstrapped a business from zero to millions, and I had 23,000 people working under me. And what happened was I got to the point where I needed to move to the next level, and I couldn't find anyone that could guide me there. And so my goal was always to work on the business and not in the business. And I had that business for 17 years. So I really learned how to sell. I learned how to be out front. I was on all kinds of panels. I did a lot of speaking to bring people in for the business. And then also I wrote a 250-page book to educate my signing agents across the nation so that they could go out and do what I didn't want to do anymore, which was be on the road and work with people who wanted to sign their loan documents.
I hate to steal one of your phrases, but that business that you had created and built was massive, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you had
massive.
There was a lot of people that
Yes.
were under you that you had basically put together.
Yes, and massive liability too.
Yeah. Sometimes that's why we exit.
There was a lot of times when I couldn't sleep and I really wanted to sell it, and lots of people wanted to buy it. But the problem was I had so many licenses and so much knowledge that everybody was afraid to take it on.
Yeah.
So I really learned the real principle. You want to know what it is?
Please tell me.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah, that's it. It's good principle. I've heard that before, and that's the way it should be.
So in October 2010, my orders went from 90 a day to 6.
Yeah.
And
that's our whole crisis.
I went, okay, that's the sign that it's time to shut the doors. And I went out and I announced it to my crew of 15 on the inside, and they were dumbfounded, just absolutely dumbfounded. But I was done. And I knew it was time to move on and teach others what I'd learned in business.
So you transitioned.
I did.
Very nicely.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about the impact you're having as a global difference maker.
Oh my gosh. What I love about my business is that I teach people how to have massive visibility for massive income. Because I feel like the entrepreneurs and the business owners today are playing way too small. And they stay in their little networking groups and they don't really get themselves out for the world to see.
Yeah.
And it's so much bigger. And they don't see the big picture. So what I do is I show them the big picture. I teach them how to work with the big picture. And then they become massively visible. And then they really start to make money.
Yeah, I like that. And I do like the whole concept of massive visibility. You do notice where people go to networking groups, and some of the networking groups are fairly small. It almost seems like a waste of time.
It is a waste of time.
They're not creating relationships. The people there aren't really their target. So they're spinning their wheels, thinking that they've got connections, yet they're not getting the referrals.
Yeah, and spinning their wheels is an understatement because they go to breakfast networking groups, they go to lunch networking groups, and they go to dinner networking groups, sometimes all 3 in one day. And then after a year, they say, I spent all this money, but I haven't made any money. Why?
Yeah.
Well, the why is because they don't have the message that their perfect clients are looking for. They don't know how to deliver that message. They don't know the words to use. And they're just out there. They think everybody is their client. When the reality is they're very fine-tuned. And imagine if you could make $8,000 for a program, how many clients would you need?
Yeah,
Would you be happy with $8,000 a month?
Sure.
Yeah,
Right.
of course.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. You're looking for that perfect client that can really make a difference in the world and is willing to pay you for your expertise.
Right. Smart. Very smart. Why did you decide that this is an important class to teach?
Because I was a certified financial educator. I still am, actually. And so people just come to me and they tell me their financials, whether I want to hear them or not. I find that you probably find that too, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I do.
I never can understand it. But I learned from all the entrepreneurs all up and down the state of California that they were struggling with the same thing. Playing too small, not knowing the message, not making any money, and feeling the pain of possibly having to go back to work to support their business. And that's why I jumped in and I said, I've already done it. Why shouldn't I teach others?
And pass it along?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to leave a legacy for everyone so that around the world there'll be known.
I'm sure that you get a ton of pleasure out of seeing your students, for example, how they're doing now, and knowing that it was you who was such a big contributor to that, and where they may not be had it not been for your words.
Well, I don't think about me so much as I think about watching them rise in the eyes of the world. That's what's really exciting for me. Watching them get up and deliver their message and really become a part of a consciousness in the world.
Yeah. Tell me about compel, don't sell.
Okay? What would you like to know?
Exactly what is this?
Oh, compel don't sell.
Short of just the words of compel, don't sell, okay.
Well, you know, I'm going to use MLMs, not that I don't like them, but I want to use them because everybody's really aware of MLMs and how people sell in MLMs, right? It's hard. It's bang, bang, bang.
Yes.
And the reality is people want to be heard. People want to be felt. People want to know that you care. And so what I teach is how to build trust with your clients. You don't just hammer in on them. You love them and you care about them and you listen and respond. And then they feel heard and they want to be a part of whatever it is that you're doing.
I love the part, as I went through a little bit, as much as I could, that I was allowed to, see of that awesome hook, you know, the interviewing techniques,
Yes.
and overcoming, super important, overcoming objections, and more importantly, rejections.
Rejection.
Most people in business, in sales, don't really understand that you're going to have that, and you need to, both of those subjects, objections and rejections, and you need to have an answer. Right?
Absolutely.
You need to be able to come back from it, and you need to have an answer when someone objects to what you're saying.
But the reality, buddy, is that they've already given you the answer. They've
just not
already,
listening?
yes,
Yeah.
we aren't conscious about our listening skills. And if we learn to ask the right questions, then at that time, you already know what their objection's going to be. So as you're chatting with them, you address that objection before they ever get to it.
Right. By just reading, by reading their words, listening to what they're saying.
You have to listen.
Yeah.
You really have to listen, and you have to know the right questions to ask. And if you're smart, and this is what I teach, you've interviewed everybody in your specific demographic to find out what their pain points are. You asked me what the pain points of my clients are, and I told you. I know that because they told me, and I listened.
Yeah. Who is this course best suited for?
It's great for small business owners and entrepreneurs who really want to make a difference in the world.
And where are your students coming from? I mean, how do they come to you? How do they find you?
Well, in large networking groups, for one. Also, I have so much social media out there, and WMAX TV provides a lot of visibility for me.
Yeah.
And that people know that I have the TV show. And what I do on the TV show is I put on entrepreneurs and business owners that are smaller and don't have such a big database with very large global difference makers.
Right. And that is basically what the show is about, isn't it?
Yes.
Is trying to help people think bigger, move past. And
Not so much help
Yeah.
as support people in a bigger vision, in a better way to word their verbiage toward their perfect clients. What if you knew how to speak your client's perfect language?